So I'm worried about having a nest of bugs in between my rainscreen area and the final exterior cladding, so I'm installing an insect barrier. So what I'm using for this is a roll of aluminum bug screen you normally put on windows. We'll snap a chalk line so it goes on straight. Lay down a generous bead of construction adhesive. After you staple the screen in place, go back and push the screen into the adhesive. Once the adhesive dries, fold the screen so it's 90 degrees from the bottom of the wall. This will help when we're installing the rigid foam. To make it easier later, we're going to mark where the studs are on the insect barrier. So I don't know what it was, but there was no 1x3s at any of the big box stores I went to. So I'm ripping some 3/4 inch CDX plywood sheets every 3 inches. Including the window areas that you'll see later, I ended up using 3 sheets of plywood. Since we bent the insect screen at 90 degrees, the rigid foam just sits on it for installation. The furring strips are installed into the studs using 4-inch exterior screws. Tape the seams of the rigid foam with weatherproof tape. Before we install the final exterior siding, we'll have to make the entire wall of furring strips flat with each other. So don't overdrive the screws because you'll compress the foam and make a lot more work for yourself later. I'm doing the front and back of the shed first, and then the side. To cut the rigid foam, I'm using the rip side of a Japanese ryoba saw. It's not really optimal to use small pieces like this, so do better than me and cut your furring strips so they meet halfway. One thing I found on the ripped plywood furring strips was the warping was really substantial on some of the pieces. You're going to want to cut the angle so it matches the pitch of the roof. We need to bump out the windows and door area so they'll be flush with the furring strips. So if water gets in these areas, there's a chance that this stuff is going to rot first. So I'm applying a tar-based waterproofing agent on the furring strips. For the Las Vegas area, this is probably not necessary, but I might as well do it since I have the waterproofing stuff. Sorry, by the way, I really didn't realize there was a smudge on the camera lens. Surprisingly enough, once this stuff dried, it didn't smell like tar. It's time to seal up the rigid foam in the corners before putting the boards on. Anytime you layer tape, picture the water moving down the wall. Treat the tape like shingles and start with the bottom and work your way up, overlapping the tape. You'll notice I'm using 12-foot long 1x4 boards cut to length instead of plywood. I wanted a continuous board for the corners, and I can only get 4x8 sheets of plywood. Some parts of my shed walls aren't perfectly flat. They flange out a little bit at the bottom. I'm fixing that by compressing the foam whenever I'm driving the screws till they're right. In addition to driving the long screws into the studs, I'm using 1 5/8 inch exterior screws to attach the two corner boards together. Now we'll seal around the windows and door with flashing tape using that shingling technique. You'll start with the bottom, then do the sides, and then finally above the opening. To apply some of these sections, I had to loosen or remove some of the furring strips holding the foam in place. When you're doing the front of the structure, start with the lowest opening, which is the door, and then work your way up to those top windows. I ran out of one type of flashing tape, so I started using the leftovers and short bits from the other parts of the build. I'm finishing up those missing sections of furring strips you probably noticed from earlier. Make sure you leave enough gap near the window areas so that you don't tear the flashing when you install the strips. In retrospect, I should have made the top bump outs of these front windows go all the way up to the rafters. It would have been way less complicated and prone to error. Last thing we'll do is seal up the blocking between those rafters with some leftover rigid insulation and spray foam. After you cut the rigid insulation to fit, we'll use the spray foam to fill the gaps between the wood and also as an adhesive to keep that rigid foam in place. This is my first time doing something like this, so the sequence is kind of wonky. Hopefully you'll get some ideas and find a quicker way to do it for yourself. Well, I'd like to thank you for watching. Barda's Adopt a Shop Helper cameos next. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get our next video. Also, there's links in the description for social media stuff if you're into that. Get out there, make something, and we'll see you next time.